following is a paid program. The opinions expressed are not necessarily those of WNBU and Interbanks Media. Welcome to All Things Money with David Blain, a thoughtful and revealing discussion of actionable ideas and effective strategies to help you through the complex world of investing, taxes, and real estate. Now, with All Things Money, here's David Blain.
Hi, and welcome to All Things Money. Your host today is John Gjertsen. Typically, David Blain is hosting this program on CTV 10 or on 94.1. Or on the internet. You can find the show, archive copies of the show on our website, dlblain.com. All Things Money is a program devoted to educating the consumers about finance, financial topics we think you'd find interesting this week. I hope that many of you are enjoying a long holiday weekend as we observe Independence Day. Hope you are engaged in doing something patriotic, and I hope that when you use the word patriotic around the IRS, that you're careful how you do so. Well, speaking of the IRS, today I'd like to just go over a topic that is related to tax, as most financial topics have some relationship to tax. It's come to my attention through reading a trade journal that 55% of parents are unfamiliar with what a 529 plan is. So it's not that I think that the 529 plan is the greatest financial tool in our arsenal, but it is a tool that I'm kind of surprised that 55% of parents don't know what it is. So just to give you a little bit of a background, 529 plans actually began, by the states. Certain states were trying to make provisions for parents to save money for college for their children, and so some of these early states were Florida, Michigan, Ohio, and Wyoming. This was in the late 80s. College costs, of course, were soaring back then as they are now, and they were coming up with plans to try and make some tax-advantaged way for parents to save money for college. And this came under fire from the IRS, which of course is trying to collect taxes. But they were so popular that eventually Congress acted, and in 1996, Section 529 of the Internal Revenue Service Code was adopted. And then in 2001, under the Bush tax cuts, that same economic, whatever it's called, that act that did a lot of tax reform in 2001, was really solidified what 529 plans are today. So just very briefly, if you've heard of 529 plans at all, you're probably aware of the fact that there are at least 50 of them. Well, there's 50 states that each have their own implementation of what a 529 plan is. So because of the way it started through state initiatives, the 529, the code there, established that states would administer these plans. So they really have nothing to do with the states, and that's the first thing I just want to make absolutely clear. You, as a parent in North Carolina, could participate in a Utah 529 and end up sending your son or daughter to school in Canada, and that would still be legitimate. So there's nothing, absolutely nothing in the 529 plan universe that restricts where you need to go to school or where you live. So there's a little bit of consideration given to what to the features that the different state plans may offer, and I'll get into that. But by and large, a 529 plan is pretty much identical from state to state in terms of how they work. So how do they work? They're a lot like a Roth IRA in some sense. You put money into these plans, which each state is contracted with some kind of a financial institution like a Vanguard or a TIAA, CREF, and they offer a lineup of either mutual funds or more commonly kind of age-based funds, or they may have like an aggressive track, a conservative track, a moderate track, or they may have something that related to the age of the beneficiary of the plan the student that you're trying to send to college, they may have something where you get in, and when they're 1 year old, then they're very aggressive, have a lot of stocks, and by the time they're 18 and approaching the college age, then that would be that would wind down to on a glide path, as they call it, that would hold less equities and more bonds, something like that. Usually there's very consumer-friendly, a very simple way to set it and forget it. Kind of, this is your asset allocation, and you pick some kind of an investment policy, and then you go from there. Actually, let me back up. There are two types of 529 plans. There's actually prepaid college tuition plans, as well as what I just talked about, which is like a college savings plan. In a prepaid college tuition plan, you would buy kind of units where, say, an in-state college tuition is, I don't know, $12,000, and so if you put in $6,000, you would be paying for a half of a year of college or something, and then when your son or daughter is going to that school or another school, they would be credited towards whatever college costs then. So it's a way of, college costs have soared and really risen in the past, and so because of that, it's a trade-off whether you can make that kind of return on the market, or if you think about college costs going up 6 or 7% a year, maybe you're better locking in the costs when you make the contribution to the plan and letting that pay for the equivalent amount of college, sort of freezing the cost of college a little bit. But because costs have gone up so high in the past and created some kind of a bubble, and you don't hear the word college costs anymore without someone using the word unsustainable, and I think that's going forward. I'm more a fan of a savings plan that gives you the flexibility as to how you spend those dollars, and isn't necessarily betting on college costs soaring in the future. I think in the future we could have more of a vocational, distance-based learning approach to education, and it may be expensive, and I may be totally wrong, but I guess I would trust the marketplace to deliver the kind of returns that I need to have today to meet college costs in the future, as opposed to banking on college costs going up. So two different kinds of 529 plans. I'll get into it a little bit more in the next segment. Some of the things I like about the 529 plans, and also some of the things I think are limitations in it. So suffice to say, it is like a Roth IRA in that you put in money after tax, you put in money, and then it grows tax-free. And then if you use that money to pay for education, it is withdrawn tax-free. So that's a pretty big benefit. I'll get into the advantages and disadvantages in the next segment.